Our families had to exile to the United States because of war. They didn't want to get killed. All that hate that we were living here in El Salvador, we took it with us. So we started joining into gangs because we didn't want to get discriminated from other races over there. We got deported back to El Salvador, and what was the reaction of society when they saw different style tattoos, bald-headed, baggy clothes, different language, different way to live, you know, different style, everything different, you know.
Alright, ready? 1, 2, 3, dale. Yeah, una vez más, bullet on the microphone. So listen up while I take this back to the calles. And it goes like this, I say, siempre dando en mente y nunca en el olvido. Instead of in the calles, siempre en rebusca. Jacking with the federal real strike with the busca. Arriesgando mi vida por un poco de feria. Siempre bien clavado en broncas serias. So always end up en la misma miseria. Poniendo arriba mi barrio y también mi placazo. I'm always thinking in the next acaso. No quiero exaltar la vida de un callejero. I'm just trying to get up con su pensamiento pandillero. Yeah, know what I'm saying? Su pensamiento pandillero. Su pensamiento pandillero.
We have come too far. We won't turn around. We'll flood the streets with justice.
Alex Sanchez is the next gang member from El Salvador. I'm standing in solidarity with him because I'm a Salvadoran and I know firsthand what happens to ex-gang members when they go back to El Salvador.
I think that the danger is real. And I know that the danger is real. We've had 4 members of Homies Unidos killed in El Salvador because of their fight to do peace work with a group of people that were just considered trash. They have feelings like everybody else do. It's just that they had another way to release that anger that they felt, and they choose the gangs.
We've all come to realize that, you know, with violence and drug use, you know, you're not going to get nowhere, you know. We've taken everything that's positive out of being in a gang, out of gang culture, like solidarity, different values and principles, you know, respect, being clean, hygiene, you know, carrying ourselves the way we're supposed to, you know, and just living a legitimate life, staying out of trouble. And we all come from the gang culture. We all come from LA.
Vivíamos en Los Ángeles, en la calle Virgil y la Normal. En esa casa, allí vivíamos en esa calle, en esa avenida. Él era el más pequeño, William. De ahí emigré yo en el 82.
I didn't know there was a war at the time. When my father came here, he said that it was a better life and that he could afford, you know, for all of us to live in one place and we could go to school and, you know, we would be out of danger from maybe, the main thing was abduction, I think, because they were abducting a lot of children, you know, and they were getting them really young to serve in the army or the militia, one of those two. So they brought us here. That's the reason why.
Esta es como cuando tenía 1 año de estar aquí, que empezaba él a ir al kinder.
His Spanish started fading away. He would say the words, instead of saying casa, he'd say caso, or very, very young. Maybe 12, you couldn't even understand what he was saying in Spanish.
These two here are from his birthday. I think it was like his 5th birthday or 6th, I'm not sure. And here he's like 11 years old maybe. When I first came here, we liked it because it was a lot better than where we came from.
Era muy sano todo, pero a partir de como del 85 es que ya se empezaron a ver pandillas cerca.
The gangs were like in the side of like Echo Park, and junior high that I went to, That's where all the gangs, you know, used to hang. Back when I was growing up, it was Rebels, White Fence, Clanton, and 18th Street. My brother, William, he stayed in the neighborhood, so he grew up with the gangs around the area. That's how he got into it since he was like 14, 15. He never got out.
You know, at first, I didn't see it like as a serious thing till it really got serious, man. You know, I didn't think it was a big deal to like go to the enemy and just bomb on them, boom, 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 and just beat them up, you know. But when they came back and really like fucking almost slaughtered one of my fucking homies and shit, it was serious and shit. But still, it wasn't that serious, you know. I guess, like, you know, it started happening more and more and more, and that's when you say like, fucking, this is serious, you know.
Ya de 16 años y 16 un poquito más fue cuando él cayó por primera vez en la cárcel. Sí estuvo como 4 veces en la cárcel.
Más. Or he was in it now since he was 15. Juvie Hall, then county and state. He started, he never stopped. He just kept going until he got deported. That was it.
Well, let me explain how criminal felon works. Criminal felon, first you serve your penal time for whatever law you have broken. Then you've served your year, 2 years, 3 years. Then you are handed over to the INS. The INS holds you in an INS facility during the duration of your hearings. The judge decides if you are to stay in the United States or will you be asked to leave the United States. You are returned to your country of origin, either by bus if it's nearby, and or by plane if it's much more distant country.
La paz llegó, se firmaron los acuerdos, dejando que los pasados se quedaran en recuerdo, trayendo por consiguiente la deportación, abuso masivo de parte de inmigración, obligando a los guanacos a regresar a su nación, haciéndolos víctimas de la explotación, regresando a tu país con estilo nuevo, la gente queriendo que se cambie por huevo, la policía abusando y como siempre buscando una forma eficaz para tenerte tapiando la sociedad, tiende a temer y desconfiar, ni siquiera intentando la situación analizar, sociedad radical, esto es lo que son, viviendo en la ignorancia desde el corazón.
The day I thought I was gonna parole, INS came and picked me up, you know. They said I was a aggravated felon, you know, that my record showed a pattern of crime. And knowing that I could just sign a paper and they could just let me go and shit. Even though it was like the fact that I had to come back to El Salvador, but at least I'd be free, you know. So I wanted my freedom, man. I had already spent like 32 months in jail, you know. It never crossed my mind in LA what El Salvador was, you know. I knew it was a country, you know, and that's where we had came from. I didn't realize, you know, that this was gonna be like permanent, you know. I was just planning on staying here like a week. I was like totally lost down here, you know. I couldn't fit in nowhere. Like my accent was like more Mexican than Salvadoran, and kind of expensive, huh? Like, you know, they couldn't understand me and shit.
I came out of the plane, you know, my mind was kind of like, man, all that I did for nothing. I would be over there, you know, but it was my fault that I've been deported and this and that. I should have been a good guy. Then I started meeting some homeboys too from the States, from Los Angeles, being deported for different crimes. I was coming from work one afternoon and this guy just bumped against me and went, "Hey man, where you from?" In English, and I looked at him, like surprised to see somebody from over there, and gang member, baggy clothes, bald headed, tattoos. We started like getting into one colonia. We started jumping in people, and we started like making graffiti on the streets, 18th Street graffiti, like marking our territory.
Yo siento que este es uno de los problemas grandes que existe en El Salvador. Sí. Y es auxiliar. Por un lado, sí, la influencia, ¿verdad?, que tenemos de parte de las maras de los Estados Unidos, sobre todo la MS, la mara, la mara Salvatrucha y la 18, que son las maras que en una forma más numerosa se han difundido en los Estados Unidos, y muchos salvadoreños están incorporados en esas maras.
Most of my homeboys that I met in 92, 93, and 94, 95% of them, let's say 85% of them, they're dead. 10% more, they're in jail. And the rest, we're alive, we have changed our lives, now.
First of all, when a person has lived through all that gang activity in LA, they've gone through prison, they survived prison, and they come down here and they try to change their lives, they just get slaughtered by, just some regular person, just because they couldn't understand them, Most of the killings are just misunderstandings, It's kind of jacked up, man.
I feel a little bit of fear, walking down the streets, because I could get killed, I might bump into a rival gang member. He might take me out, he might kill me, because you never know. I could get killed tomorrow, the day after tomorrow.